I'm joined at the Global Borrowers and Investor Forum by Thiébaut Julin, CFO of Agence Locale. Thank you very much for joining us today. One of the big themes at the moment for, I think, all public sector issuers is the ECB's public sector purchase programme. How much has that affected the market for your bonds?
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with the Euromoney today. Regarding your question, we feel that interest rates have fallen dramatically since the QE started in March, and it has totally changed the global balance between supply and demand in the market, both in the primary and the secondary market. We've seen most of the entire bond issuers, refraining or changing a bit the strategy in terms of executing their borrowing program, especially in the euro market, changing their traditional maturities where they are raising funds. So it has definitely a major impact. And as far as we are concerned, we did our inaugural transaction at the end of March. It was just after the beginning of the QE. The market was very much impacted by the beginning of the QE. Interest rate had declined dramatically, and it really had changed. The way we were approaching the market until we found the appropriate window to do our transactions, which went very well. But it's more a window market. There's no, the traditional flows going to the SSA sector, which we have seen over the last years. So it's making things more challenging, more difficult. When you are a borrower like Agence Locale with a limited borrowing program, you can find the window by waiting until the market is ready and place your bond transaction. When you are a frequent borrower, obviously it makes the situation much more challenging because you have a lot to do, and you cannot wait until the window is there. So the challenge is clear that QE has changed totally the picture.
It changed quite a lot. One of the negative things which I'm hearing from quite a few investors is about the secondary market liquidity in bonds, and it's dried up. Are you seeing that, and is there anything that you as an issuer or your investment banks can do to help that?
No, definitely. The liquidity has changed. I think it changed before the QE. It changed because of the regulation of the banking industry. Mm-hmm. Market makers are not, holding positions because of the capital charge that they have to face. So that is part of the answer. QE has just, dry up what was left. So definitely, it's an additional, factor that has, again, changed totally the secondary market liquidity. If you are an investor, basically, you'll find liquidity in the primary market when you want to buy some bonds. And when you want to sell, it would make your life much more challenging, and this is major structural change of those days, in the secondary market.
It's made it worse.
Certainly.
Already worse.
So then, obviously, you have some tools. If you want to manage your liquidity, you have the repo market, which is always available. You can diversify your borrowing program. So have bonds in various currencies. But this is something which definitely will change the industry.
Another thing which potentially could change the industry is the situation in Greece. Now, obviously, at the time of the conference, there's a huge amount of uncertainty, but just in the hypothetical situation of a Greek default, what do you think the impact will be on the SSA market?
Stepping back a bit, what is interesting is we all recognize that from the situation in 2011, the exposure of investors, whether bank or other investors, to Greece has declined or is almost irrelevant.
Private sector investors.
Private sector investors, exactly, because the debt is borne by public institutions. So having said that, you shouldn't have any contagion, in theory, especially when you look at the profile of the debt of Greece, which is very long-dated loans extended either by countries directly or by the EFSF. Apart from the IMF, I would say the rest is very much, long-dated. So the contagion should be limited, but we've seen the opposite. So I think there are other factors, which explain why there's so much attention, so much focus on the situation, on the development of this situation in Greece. And we'll see, first of all, the risk of the reversibility of being a member of the Eurozone. It means that when the euro was established in 1999, there were no provision to exit from the euro. So now you would see that membership of the euro is reversible. So that might open discussion for potential other candidates. Or the second is probably the geopolitics, which may also impact the analysis. We have to take into account that Greece is a member of NATO. They've been a pillar actually of NATO. So there are other considerations that maybe the market is just reflecting, but which we don't totally understand at the moment. So our views is in terms of direct impact on the market should be relatively limited because of the reason I mentioned. But there are ramifications here and there, consequences which you don't really understand or can, and that may have other effects on the market, so which is difficult at the moment to explain or to assess.
Well, hopefully it will remain a hypothetical question.
Yes. Actually, that's why also it's one of the reasons why when we did our inaugural transaction, we anticipate that this part, this period of the year would be challenging, and we decided to load a bit more than what we had forecast, so that we would be able, to sustain and to operate in our business without having to recourse to the market during this summer period.
Seems like a prudent strategy.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.